I go away for 1 week and they spin a story about Jeff Hardy's prior substance issues. Jesus Christ. Hello, I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and this is Graded for Friday Night SmackDown, where I take a look at the show segment by segment and award each little bit of grade from A+ to F. We got a pretty packed show this week. There's a lot going on, so without any further ado, let's crack on with it. Hit the intro. So we start off with Jeff Hardy, who's making his way down to the ring. Commentary says that it looks like Elias is probably going to be out for a couple of months after last week's attack. And Jeff's like, you know what? All I remember last week is arriving at the building, and then there was like this huge like bang, and then I remember the smell of alcohol, I remember being led away by the police, and I'm just really confused. He says he knows he didn't mess up. He passed every test the police put him through. All the bystanders even said that the person driving the car had red hair. God damn it, Undertaker, what have you got against Elias? And then out comes Sheamus, who tells Jeff to stop blaming other people for his problems. That's all he's ever done. He keeps saying things like people like you. He calls him a junkie. He brings his family into it, and then Jeff snaps. There's a bit of a fight breaks out. Sheamus is hurling Jeff into the plexiglass that's protecting either side of the ramp. And then he just sort of dumps him at the bottom, stands tall, and that's that. Now, I'm going to give this one a C+. It's always really uncomfortable when they try and spin these real-life storylines, especially with things as serious as drunk driving. It's always just a little bit too near the knuckle, like it's just faintly put a toe over the line for me. But at the same time, you can't really fault the earnestness of Jeff's promo. Like, that was great. Jeff is so good at being an underdog, and Sheamus is incredibly good at getting under the skin. Not a massive fan of the story, but the delivery... So then we go to Otis and Mandy, who are just walking along backstage as couples do, and then they happen upon a chair, and on the chair is King Corbin's crown, and on the back of the chair is his cape, and Otis is like, ooh, should I try it on? And Mandy's egging him on a little, going, yeah, go on. And then he puts it on, they both walk off, and then it sort of fades away. I think it goes back to commentary, it comes back, and Corbin goes to get his stuff before he goes out for his match, and it's missing. He goes ape, and it's revealed that we've got Otis versus Corbin next. So yeah, we've got Otis versus Corbin here. Corbin tries to get straight on Otis, but Otis is too fired up for that. He sends Corbin to the floor. But Corbin drives Otis into a ring post, and then back in the ring, he's really trying to grind Otis down. He gets a couple of cheap kidney shots in, but Otis starts to hulk up. He eventually drops Corbin and starts hurling him from corner to corner. He gears up for the caterpillar, but just as he's about to do it, Corbin rolls out of the ring. He makes his way to commentary. It seems that he's asking for his crown, and then Otis follows him out. Corbin grabs a chair, nails him with it. The match is thrown out as a DQ. Otis wins. Not to be deterred though, Otis keeps on Corbin, drags him back into the ring, hits the caterpillar, and stands tall. I'm going to give this one a C+. It was another fairly straightforward match that seemed a little rushed. We're getting a lot of that on SmackDown, like week to week. There just seems to be, the occasional match just feels like it's like bells straight to finish. It's quite odd. That being said though, they worked well here. Corbin had Otis rocked legitimately a couple of times. Would I watch this every week? Absolutely not, but I'd definitely watch it another couple of times. I think they work well together. We then go to Miz and Morrison, who are inside a surveillance van. They say that all of their co-workers and people online have been criticising them and laughing at them for calling out Braun, but they've got a bit of a plan. They're going to make Braun's life a living hell, and they're inside this van to be strategic. So we see from their CCTV cameras that have been set up, Braun entering the performance centre. He goes to the little kitchen, says hello to a couple of people. He's got his shaker, it looks like he's making up some protein powder, and then he goes to put water in it, and it's like Coke and Mentos, it goes everywhere. Braun is a little bit disgruntled. It's just a bit like, oh god, this is going to be a long night. Like he knows what's happening. He just can't be bothered. Miz and Morrison then burst out laughing. I suppose somebody has to laugh at it, because otherwise it would just be really childish and awkward. We then go to Shorty G, who's backstage about to be interviewed when he's cut off by Mojo Rawley. Mojo brings up Gronk, and then he makes a short joke. Yeah, so Sheamus has graduated to Jeff Hardy, and now Mojo has taken over the short people gimmick. Then Cesaro and Nakamura just turn up and start attacking Shorty G. Then New Day just pile in and save Shorty G's bacon. Yeah, okay, fine. Next up, we have Sonya Deville versus Lacey Evans. Boo, Sonya. As Lacey's making her entrance, Sonya just piles on her. It's like proper aggressive, takes her right down. I think she might even throw her into the steps, like she's just beating her down just as Lacey's making her entrance. When we get back, they're both fighting for control, but Lacey manages to take charge. She drives Sonya into the turnbuckles and stretches her over the corner. However, Sonya is able to escape, and then she takes it straight to a downed Lacey. She's like shouting at her, and then there's this schoolboy attempt where Sonya's coming over the rope. It's sort of like a sunset thing. She's going to like flip over and roll her up. But as Sonya comes over, this is really weird. As Sonya comes over, the referee's a little bit too close. Sonya connects with the referee, and you see his knee do that, and he's stood at an awkward angle, and his knee just goes the complete wrong way it's supposed to. The ref is in pain, he's holding his leg, he's asking for help, he's trying to keep them both apart. A replacement referee, Jessica Carr, comes running down, the referee leaves. We go to break, and when we come back, we're back at it. Sonya hits this horrible move on Lacey. It's sort of like a draping horizontal clothesline. She's got her torso hanging out of the ring, like over the apron, so like all that's there is floor underneath it. She just beats her down and Lacey folds in half. She then takes Lacey, puts Lacey's head on the step, and then stands on her neck. That's not something that should have been left in. I don't care if it was recorded, in advance. It should have been taken out. It's not really the time or place to be doing that. That's all I'm going to say about this. Eventually, though, when we get toward the end, Sonya looks like she's about to go in for the kill when Mandy Rose appears on the screen. This momentary distraction of Mandy just sort of taking the mick out of Sonya a little bit allows Lacey to hit the women's right and pick up the win. I'm going to give this one a B-. It had a bit of everything. It had a pace that worked really well. Both competitors worked very well together. It was explosive in the right way, and Sonya looks vicious, if not a little bit too blinkered by Mandy. We then go to Braun, who is being interviewed backstage by Kayla Braxton. She's talking to him, and then we cut to The Miz and Morrison, who are back in their van. Oh no, what are they going to do now? So they reveal a button, they hold it up, they count it down, they press it, and then a load of slime falls from the ceiling. Except it doesn't fall on Braun, it falls on Kayla. There's a bit of bickering between Miz and Morrison because obviously it wasn't set up properly. Morrison might not have put the bucket in the right place. Miz might not have told him where to put it properly. Just a load of back and forth. Braun is apologetic as hell to Kayla. He's like, I'm so sorry you've been caught in the middle of all of this. Clearly Kayla's embarrassed by it, and clearly Braun's embarrassed too because she's just been brought into this thing that's got nothing to do with her. Next up, we have a sit-down, or not really a sit-down, more of a stand-up between Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles over the Intercontinental title with Renee Young. AJ almost immediately cuts off Renee. He defends himself taking a bye in the tournament. He runs down Bryan, says that really, if it wasn't for Jeff Hardy, Sheamus would be there. It should be me versus Sheamus. AJ says that Bryan is noble but stupid, and Bryan just, in his own way, as he does, he laughs it off. He's like, you know what? We go back a long time, we're very different people. Bryan calls him a coward. He says, I want this belt so I can defend it every single week. I want to be the benchmark. I want to be the guy when somebody comes in, they can have a title opportunity against me. He wants to turn the belt back into a work rate belt and a belt that means something, where he thinks that Styles, and he's correct because Styles addresses it. Styles like, I'm not going to let go of the belt. Like, if I'm champion, I'm champion. AJ calls it a handout. He's like, I don't do handouts. And then he brings up Drew Gulak, and he sort of hints at the fact that Daniel Bryan may have pulled a few strings to get Gulak a handout, which is, maybe why he was signed with the company. And then AJ goes one further and offers a free handout to Gulak right now in the ring. Before he even finishes the sentence, Gulak's music hits and he's on his way down. This match is going to be mental. So yeah, Gulak's music hits, comes down, just lays straight into Styles. We go to break, and then we come back, and AJ straight away drives Gulak into the corner. Gulak clearly knew this was going to happen, though. He manages to take it straight to the floor, and he's just working over Styles however he can. But it's not like he's really taking charge. Like, the second he starts to get anywhere, Styles picks him up, hurls him straight into the turnbuckle. Both guys are going hell for leather. They really want to prove themselves in this match. Styles just can't keep him under control, though. He eats a massive suplex. He hits a high Michinoku driver. That was scary because Gulak really gets him high on the shoulders, so it looks like people are landing on their necks. And then Styles almost has the Styles Clash before Gulak just rolls him through and picks up the win. Drew Gulak has beaten AJ Styles on SmackDown. Combined with the opening promo, I'm going to give this one a B+. It was a surprising little gem of a match, this one. I would 100% watch it again, hook it straight up to my veins, and I'm hoping that this is what we're going to see when Bryan and AJ really go at it for the belt. We then go back to the car park and Miz and Morrison are having a gentle stroll over to Braun Strowman's car. It's beautiful. They're saying how nice the car is, it's lovely, and then Miz is like, oh, is that a fly? And Morrison's like, yeah, I think it is. And then Miz picks up a golf club and puts the front window in. So windshield is just smashed. And then Morrison talks about, like softball because of Braun's family and Braun's ties to softball, and proceeds to just bat in the rest of the front window. It was great. It was sort of like more what I was expecting of them making his life hell rather than goop. We then have New Day and Shorty G versus Cesaro, Nakamura and Mojo Rawley. So this one was mishmash as hell and it's 6-man. I'm just going to try and give you the cliff notes because loads of stuff happens in these matches, and if it was to read everything out, it would take forever. Cesaro and G start off with a very strong technical showing, but then both teams start tagging routinely. Very, very good display of tag team action here. Kofi hits a huge dive to the floor, wiping out Cesaro before being wiped out himself by Mojo Rawley from behind. Mojo then takes it to Kofi and wipes out Big E on the apron, and eventually we end up with Shorty G versus the world. I think Cesaro gets in, he evades him, dumps him to the outside and takes it straight back to Mojo Rawley. Mojo goes for the hyper drive, it's rolled through into an ankle lock from Shorty G. Nakamura gets him with a knee. Everybody's hitting their signature moves here. Cesaro's not legal, gets a cheap shot in while the referee's back's turned. Everything falls apart. Mojo goes for the hyper drive, but G kicks out. Big E then gets the tag. He and Kofi hit their double finish as G is holding back people on the outside, and they get the win. I'm gonna give this one a B-. It was a chaotic but nice little match. It feels like it hit the ground at a sprint, and it maintained that throughout, and that's always the sign of a nice, frenetic, crazy match. And before our main event, we conclude tonight's main storyline thread. We go back to, there's a security guard who's been stood by the door all night, watching Miz and Morrison do everything that they're doing, because Braun is parked right in front of the door. Miz and Morrison somehow think they're going to get away with this. Braun leaves, he's opens the door, gets to the security guard, sees his car, and then rages. He grabs the guy, he's like, where are they? He points to the van, and the game is up. Braun paces around the van, threatening through the CCTV cameras, but then realises he's Braun Strowman, he can do whatever the hell he wants. He proceeds to trash their van by flipping it over with them inside it. This was the best segment out of the bunch. I loved it. And finally, for our main event, we have Sasha and Bayley taking on the current women's tag team champions, Alexa and Nikki, for the women's tag team championships. So Nikki straight out of the gate just drops Bayley. Bliss gets in. She manages to keep her grounded. They're tagging well and they're managing to keep Bayley isolated in their half of the ring, and that is what they need to do if they want to hold on to these belts. Sasha then gets in for a bit, takes it to Bliss, and then when Bayley gets back in, again, she's trapped in the corner. She's isolated at that end of the ring. They grind her down. It looks like she's in trouble, but she's able to roll out of the ring and escape via the apron. Bliss then gets the hot tag, cleans house, drops Bayley. She's about to go for the twisted Bliss, and then Sasha gets on the apron, goes to distract her. Bliss kicks her out of the way, but that attempt at a distraction was enough for Bayley to get up onto the second rope and hit a massive Bayley to belly. It looked rough, that landed. It was I would not want to take that. After the Bayley to belly though, Banks gets in and she can't wrap it up. She can't get it done. Nikki then attempts a crossbody, but it's not enough. There's a bit of a communication breakdown between Banks and Bayley involving Banks has Nikki dead to rights. She's got her in the bank statement. Bayley gets in and for some reason tries to lock it in. She tagged in. Proper weird. She's just trying to take Sasha's glory away from her. This obviously fails because Bayley can't lock in the bank statement as well as Sasha Banks can. When Sasha gets back in, she reapplies the bank statement. There's a little bit of rocking backwards and forwards, pin, and then Sasha is able to leverage herself and she's able to pin Nikki. And that means that the the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships are back with Bayley and Sasha. Now this is not what I would have done at all with the belts here. I don't think that Sasha and Bayley really need them, but I get that this can be used in, storyline stuff. They can use this to maybe suggest they're a little bit stronger. Maybe it'll eventually implode. Maybe they'll have to work as a tag team despite the fact they hate each other. Maybe somebody's going to cost the belts and then it's going to all fall apart. It's all just stuff to fuel the eventual fire that's going to burn the rope, that's going to drop the massive anvil on the pair of them. Either way, I'm going to give this match a B+, though. I think it was a sterling example of tag team wrestling, and it was one of the better matches on the show overall. Not what I would have done with the result, but yeah, you can sort of see why they've done it. Overall this week, it's getting a B. It was one of those standard SmackDown shows. That's sort of what it's becoming now, where the in-ring action speaks louder than most of the stuff that's happening out of the ring and backstage. The night was hampered a little bit, I guess, by the childish comedy, but then at the same time, wrestling's made for kids. Like, we're just adults that are following this thing, so I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little too harsh on it. It was sort of Attitude Era-y. We always say we want that back, and then when we get stuff like this, we complain. I don't know. We had a great match between Gulak and AJ. I can't wait to see what AJ and Bryan are going to be able to put together with that eventual match. And I'm looking forward to Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy as well, which has been confirmed for Backlash. But that has been graded for Friday Night SmackDown. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.